So board games. What happened to board games? I mean, don't get me wrong, every board game has its fans, right? But me, when I was young, I was one of those in-betweener nerds, right? I was like a massive fan of things, but then I was a massive fan of so many things. I didn't follow one specific thing like an absolute fanatic. So while I knew a lot about the things that I followed, I wasn't to the level where I would be identified as that guy loves, you know, this or this. However, I spent a lot of my time playing and in fact creating board games at home. It was a family thing. It's actually something that I did with my father quite a lot. He liked to play board games. It's one of the only things that we really did together. And since then, I've not been like a massive fan. I've not gone out and bought loads of board games. I've played with my children, I've played with my wife, but I don't know, there comes a time in your life where you kind of play party games or you have a group of friends who love board games. And I never really had that group of friends who love board games. So although my perspective is skewed because of that, because I'm not a board game guy, that's what I won't be considered by anyone who you know goes and sits at a table with people and plays like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons or like is mad into like Warhammer. Like, I understand there's that level of playing board games, but there's also a level where people love to play board games, but there aren't really board games that they can jump into. And I think that's why, like, when I was writing my stories and I realized that this was an incredible world that I wanted to dive deeper into in other ways, that we started to develop a board game because it's so like obvious. It was so obvious to me at the time that we could like explore this world and interact with it a lot more and have fun doing so if it was a game. And of course, while I would have loved to create a video game straight away, that was like my thing. I was like, oh man, side scrolling, you know, puzzles, like actual fighting, like a fighting game inside a side scroller with puzzles, with open world, which would have been incredible because it would have had a narrative as well. So, but like, while I'd love to continue developing that, I realized, no, that's not going to happen anytime soon because I just don't have the skills to develop that. So I'd have to work with people. And hey guys, I'm open and willing for you to contact me if you want to work with me on that, because listen, I would love to create that game, but I realized that I could do something almost immediately that would give us the opportunity to interact in the story in a similar way, and that was to create a board game. So that's exactly what we did. So I sat down, came up with a couple of ideas. Immediately it was clear to me how the board game needed to work. Then we trialed some different boards, different mechanics, different game pieces, made a couple of mock-ups, and then we ended up landing on the ideal board, the ideal game mechanics and the ideal peripherals, and then we ordered it and got ourselves a prototype. And from there, it's been like so exciting to sit down and play the game and see other people watching us play the game and watch other people playing the game and realize this is real. Like, this is a really fun game. This is an incredible thing to like take part in. Like, it could be 2 players, 4 players. I mean, we haven't tried it with more than 4 players yet, but I believe that you can play with more than 4 players if you really want to. But like, I don't know, it's really sort of reinvigorated me when it comes to playing board games. And while I'd like to sort of delve into the world of board games and try out some of the games that have been released recently, because I haven't played board games for some years, I'm just literally obsessed with making them now. So it's got to the point where I'm that guy. Like, I'm that guy that the teachers tell you about that you shouldn't be. Like, if you're going to be an author, you should just read books. Like, I am an author. I write. I don't have time to read everyone else's books. I'm always writing. I don't want to sit down and watch everyone else's movies if I'm going to make a movie. It just... I understand that you need to be educated in your craft, and you do need to involve yourself somewhat in other people's work to understand how to create certain things. But there's understanding your audience, and there's understanding your story, and there's understanding how to tell it, and then there's wasting hours and hours of your life playing when you could be creating. And so that's what I choose to do. So with board games, it's kind of happened organically. That's what I choose to do. So, well, I'm working on a couple of other board games at the moment, but we're still further developing Tales of Arkham because we have some amazing character packs that we want to bring to the game and some amazing quirks that we're going to bring to the game. So what we thought we'd do is we would invite people to play the game online because we actually have a digital version of the game that you can play, and we're hopefully going to host a tournament of sorts so that the people who win their games will win prizes, and the people that win the tournament will win like a whole big bundle of prizes. And we're considering the fact that, you know, the winner of the tournament should probably play me, because I mean, you know, I made the game, so if you're gonna win the tournament, you're gonna be the best Tales of Arkham player. You better play the guy who made the game, and we'll see who's really the top dog, who really is the king. But aside from that, also in creating this board game, what I really want to do, because I always feel like this when I do something not alone. I haven't done it on my own. My son's really helped me. He's been instrumental in creating this board game. My daughter's helped me as well. But in doing things independently, like I want to bolster the confidence of other people who want to go out and do the same thing for themselves. Like, I want to tell you that you can create a board game. You can make it happen. You can bring it to market. And hopefully, you know, if our board game is successful, then it will be, you know, an inspiration to those who want to do the same. You know, hopefully the way that I've created the board game will be understandable to people, because when I started doing it, I'd had experience previously, but I didn't follow a specific formula. You know, I didn't like listen to thousands of podcasts and go to seminars and do lessons on how to this, how to that. I was just like, okay, I know how board games work. I know how they play. I've played plenty of them. I know how I want to build my board game, and I know how important testing that board game is. I know how important testing every element of that board game is. Not just how much do we like playing it because we know how it's played, but how much do people like playing it who've never seen it before, who need to sit down and get into this game and don't want to read through a thick manual, instruction manual, you know, and don't want to have the rules like painted on the back of their hand so they can understand what the hell's going on when they're playing. So it's really important, I think, to be able to deliver your board game to people who not only are massive fans of playing board games, but people who maybe haven't played board games for years, people who maybe haven't considered board games, and then they see your board game and they play it, they experience it, and they get excited about board games again. And another one of the reasons that I think it's like really important is that right now we have this, I don't know, what are people calling it, like an epidemic of people on their devices all the time. You're on your device right now, that's why you're watching this video. But at the same time, like, we're not just addicted to our devices, we're addicted to the feeling that we get when we're using the device. So we're addicted to the rewards that we receive from taking part in an activity. And playing board games is more exciting than scrolling on a app. Trust me when I say this. Like, if you haven't tried it, you need to try it. You need to sit down with a friend or a family member and play a game. It's like people aren't doing that as much anymore, and it's like a massive detriment, I think, to our health and our sociabilities. So I'm hoping that this is going to kind of, you know, put the fire up someone's backside. Even if it's just that one person that's watching this video now, you've got an incredible idea for a board game like that's 10 times better than mine, and you're going to release it. I want you to do that so I can play it myself. So please, 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 if you have an idea for a game, just get your pencil out and start scribbling down all your ideas. Start cutting out pieces of card and using things that are around the house, and make a mock-up of your game and play it and play it and play it and test it and make it happen, because it's one of the most rewarding things I think you can ever do. Anyway, I'm not going to say too much about this because I wanted to go into something else which was really important. I'm going to do that in another video. I'm going to tell you obviously about the tournament when that comes up and everything else, but I just wanted to introduce this idea to you because it's been burning a hole in my mind for a long time now, and I really want to share this, because whilst me writing stories is really important to me, like, the interactivity of playing games is just something that I don't know how you can possibly replace. Like, I get it. I have my quiet time, my private time, and I like to just dissolve into my stories and get lost in the worlds that I create. But at the same time, like, my my son can't do that with me, right? My father can't do that with me. That's the wonderful thing about sitting and watching a movie together, right? You're both in the same world, and you're both kind of seeing things from the same perspective, or a similar perspective, because obviously you can see things slightly differently to another person. But when you're playing a game, it's like there's this really sort of intimate sort of connection that goes on, and this, like, the competition. I mean, people use it, obviously, like I said earlier, you know, you get addicted to scrolling and stuff. There are people that have used the science of, like, gambling and addiction and used it to create these apps. And I honestly believe the same science of gambling and addiction has been used for years and years, centuries in fact, in board games, because that's what we want, basically. That's what we've always wanted, you know. That's why sport and competition exists, because we want to feel the thrill of going up against an opponent and having the opportunity to win and having the risk of losing. And it's just one of those things. And if you're a person that's adverse to that, then I can guarantee that you're not probably where you want to be in life, because you need that. You know, you need to be able to take risks, go out into the world and do things. It's the same as, like, making this video. Many years ago, I wouldn't have made a video like this because it would have just been awkward and I wouldn't have known what to say, and, like, there'd have been massive pauses. And right now, I don't know if I've stopped talking for the last few minutes, but regardless, like, you know, the feeling that we get from board games is just the same as well, it's not just the same, but it's as important as the feeling that we get from competing with others and prospering and, you know, spending time together and just being part of a community, being part of society. It's really, really important. So getting out and playing board games can be like a gateway drug, if you like, into community, into friendship. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to say on that for now. But I'll be back in another video to tell you more about the game. I'll be back in another video to obviously tell you more about the tournament, tell you more about all the things that I'm doing here in the DreamHold. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.